Hello everyone, this is a short and very niche video. This is very specific to this kind of situation where I have a MacBook Pro 2015, which is a Broadwell CPU, and I am undervolting it. And these are the final values that I was able to certify as stable, and these are working on Windows. And the main difference between Windows and macOS is that on macOS I was able to run the system with minus 0.080 on the system agent as well as the other values. So this is a 14 nanometer, but the architecture is very similar to Haswell. In that regard, what I mean is that when you undervolt in Skylake and up to Coffee Lake and Comet Lake, I think. Yeah, from Skylake to Comet Lake, the usual undervolt you are able to achieve is much higher, and it is especially much higher on the GPU and CPU, and the cache is usually could be around like 2/3 to half the value of the CPU. For example, in this case, we have minus 70 on the CPU core, minus 85 on the GPU. And this kind of gap is also seen on Skylake. Like on Skylake, you would have maybe minus 150 on the CPU and 170 on the GPU. But the cache is similar, is almost the same value as the GPU, and even higher than the CPU. While on Skylake, I am usually able to like going by the previous example. On average, I would say I would get a minus 150 on the CPU core, and then I would get minus 80 on the cache. And the system agent is always the lowest undervolter of all. It is also one of the most difficult one to test. It is much easier to test the system agent when you have the integrated graphics, because the system agent is the memory controller, and that is most stressed when you run graphics applications. Like I will show you now. I will run a superposition with this value. I will just start. Oh, it's already started actually. Oh yeah, it was working. It was on the background, but yeah, let's get it started. Here it is. We're running superposition, and it's running fine. I don't want to finish it. It's also going to be like a slideshow because it's a integrated graphics. We're now going to lower the system agent to 70, which was the value that was. It was actually stable at 75 or even 80 on macOS. And I was running games on macOS, and I was running graphical tests like Unigine or Luxmark, and the system was perfectly stable. But on Windows, it's going to show as steering on the screen. Yeah, you can see that right now. You can see that's happening, and that's like quite puzzling to me, because this also happens at 60 actually, much lower, but it's going to also show up. And as far as I can tell, it doesn't crash the system. I just need to lower the system agent voltage. So yeah, that's more of a note to myself. It's a very strange situation to have such a huge gap between what macOS and Windows are capable on undervolting. In my experience, macOS is always a bit more forgiving in terms of undervolt, and it seems to be related to the fact that macOS never, I would say, loads the system a little bit less than Windows. And you can tell that by the fact that Windows usually is faster at everything that is rendering, while macOS is better at real time for some reason. macOS always has some kind of headroom that is left on the system, so it doesn't tax the system that much. But whatever, it's just like something weird that I noticed. And of course, I'm gonna leave the undervolt like this even on macOS, because I want better be safe than sorry, of course. I did run this system as my main operative system. I mean, on macOS, I put a macOS driver with my data on it and my Firefox account, and I used this machine for 3 days to validate the undervolts, just as a proof of concept, and just to see whether normal usage is any different than benchmark, which usually is, but not by much. I mean, the values that I found with the benchmark were very similar to the were also very stable for everyday usage. Yeah, the only very huge discovery was that I just plugged this Windows system in just to test a little bit more, and I found this weird thing about the system agent. I'm also testing another undervolt here, and this is like Haswell, so a 2014 machine, and the values here are very similar actually. Like this is what I'm running stable at the moment, and Haswell has no system agent and I/O undervolts available on Macs, so I cannot undervolt the other values. As you can see, I can do that. It will just report as 0. Oh, sorry. I gotta go to the Voltageshift directory. Yeah, you can see the system agent and the IOs are not undervolting under macOS. And they're under this MacBook actually. No, it doesn't matter about. It's not about macOS. This is also locked on Windows, on Haswell MacBook Pros. And yeah, as you can see, this is quite lucky sample, because 80, 90 for Haswell is a lot. Is a huge undervolt, while these are average to a little bit maybe on the lucky side for Broadwell. Broadwell usually undervolts much better than Haswell does. Yeah, I guess that's all for this very specific video. Ciao!